Amex card flat is a terrible card. The EVA Air flight from Seattle to Taipei was just phenomenal. It was on one of their newest airlines. I think it was recent or newest planes that's been recently updated. So the business class seats are amazing. They're super spacious. I'm someone who hates flying, which is funny because I love traveling, but I hate flying, and that's why the comfortable flight time is really important to me. I need to be able to lay down. I need to be able to stretch out, move when I need to move. And that's why I think points are so important to me because it allows me to do all of that without spending an arm and a leg.
Tell me like where you are right now. How'd you get there?
Yeah, so a little bit of background. I've been in the credit card game, specifically travel credit cards, for about 10 years now. My partner David and I got into this in college, and we started with our very first travel credit card, the Chase Sapphire Preferred. So this was one of our first credit cards. We started reading a lot of the points guy. So we started this 10 years ago. I would say we were in the points collection phase of our life for the first 5 years, really just racking up points across different banks. We haven't really started spending our points until pretty recently. So I think that's where we are right now. We're finally reaping the benefits of our credit cards, and I can tell you that it's just been amazing.
Yeah, tell me about like one trip that you've taken on points.
Yes, I'd say one of the most memorable trips was probably our most recent trip to Japan and Manila this summer. So we traveled on ANA business class. That was a phenomenal redemption. We each paid about 85,000 points round trip from Seattle all the way to Tokyo. And then we were able to add onto that trip a stopover, a 5 day stopover in Manila to see a friend who was working there. And that only cost us an additional 5,000 miles. And
So
all
not
of this
even money,
was
it's just miles.
no money. Well, there were, I think we paid maybe 85,000 plus maybe a couple hundred. I don't know the exact amount, but I mean, it wasn't much. So I'd say it was a great redemption. These are flights, if you were to pay cash, would easily be over $7,000. So with our 85,000 points, like the redemption rate was insane. It was like, I think over 8 cents a point, which is crazy to me because, like we're getting these points from just our normal everyday spend, just spending money on things that we would typically be doing anyway. We're not changing our lifestyles for these points. We're just going on business as usual, but all the while gaining these points that allow us to have these incredible trips.
That's a good segue into how are you getting these points? What credit cards are you using? All these kind of questions about the Amex Platinum.
Yes. So again, the Amex Plat is one of my favorite cards. I pretty much almost always have it on me. Um, And our strategy right now is just kind of to diversify because there are so many great point deals that come out. And if you're diversified, you're able to capitalize on them when you see them. So we have a ton of Amex points, but we also have points spread across Citi, Capital One, and some of the other banks. And so that's our strategy right now. We carry a number of cards. Specifically with the Amex Plat, I love this card because the benefits just fit in my lifestyle very well. I love the benefits. There are a ton of them, and it was a card that made sense for us.
Let's dive deeper because I see a lot of people like looking at the ads. They say, "Oh, the Amex Platinum is so cool," and then they realize it's a $695 annual fee. So you pay that every year, correct?
We pay that twice because both my partner and I have the Amex Plat.
All right. So let's get into the nerdy math piece. Like, how does that make sense?
Yes, so definitely it's an expensive card, but like I said, for us, it made sense. One of my favorite benefits of the card is just the access to the Centurion lounges, which are just one of the best lounges in domestic lounges that you can get into. Way better than anything you can get into like Priority Pass. I would say better than most of the Delta Sky lounges that I've been to. These are just phenomenal lounges, particularly the one in Seattle, which has been recently renovated, and then the one in Philadelphia are also very solid. We were lucky in that these two airports that we primarily fly out of have Centurion lounges. If you don't have the platinum card, you have to pay about $50 to get in. Pretty expensive, but the food when you get in is phenomenal. The drinks are great, just the comfort that the lounges offer. We don't necessarily value the experience at $50. So if we did not have the card, I don't think I would pay to get into them. I'd say we value it at probably $20 a visit per person. So between my partner and I, like that's how much we would spend on airport food if we did not have the lounge. So personally, I value it at about $20 per person per visit, and I travel pretty frequently. So I'd say I travel once a month, or maybe once every other month. So I'm at these lounges a dozen times a year, given the airports that I'm flying out of, and like a dozen times, $20 a visit. This is worth the lounge access itself is worth like $200 to me.
Mhm.
So that's probably one of my favorite benefits. Some of the other benefits that I really love, the Uber credit, super convenient for us. I'm in school right now, and my partner works a full-time job. We have two dogs. We have a very full social life, so we're always busy. And the Uber credit just allows us to, order food when we don't have time to cook.
Yeah.
So
So that cuts
that
down the annual fee a lot.
that cuts it down a lot. So super valuable for us. Other benefits that are valuable to us, the airline incidental fee. I know some people say it's like hard to use that, but for us it works because we have two pets that we travel with. So that just helps to cover that. So that with the credit card, they essentially travel free a year. So if we're making one trip with our pets a year, the between the two cards, they're completely covered. So that's a great benefit. The cell phone protection, honestly, not talked about much, but I find that it's a really great credit. I've had to use it once and it was pretty seamless. So I appreciate, just having that additional peace of mind. And then the Saks Fifth Ave, that's also another credit that I think people are just like, oh, they roll their eyes at. But I personally love it because I use a lot of eye mask, the slip eye mask, and every 6 months I just get to a new one. And yeah, so $100 a year. So between all of these things, I more than get my worth out of the card.
Gotcha. So for those people that may not use Saks Fifth Avenue or Uber that much, like what would you say to them?
This is an expensive card. It's not for everyone. If these benefits that you're reading about they don't fit your lifestyle, don't conform yourself to meet the card. The card should seamlessly fit into your life, not the other way around. If this is not the card for you, there are plenty of other options.
And just to do the Amex Plat justice, I know there's other credits that we might not use. There's the Equinox credit. There's the Walmart Plus subscription. Anything else that I'm missing just to make sure we cover it all?
Yeah, there's the hotel credit, so you get $200 a year towards. Amex has two collections: the Fine Hotels collection, and then the Fine Hotels, and then I think the Hotel collection. So two separate collections that you can apply these credits towards. Bear in mind they are more expensive hotels than you might find if you did a normal search on Google. So there's that lifestyle creep that comes with the card, I would say. I would say David and I, my partner, we were never fancy hotel people, but now that we have the MX Plat and we have to use this credit, we find that we're staying at nicer hotels, and now I'm seeking out that experience more and more. So there's a lifestyle creep that comes with the card, but that's I do appreciate that hotel credit.
Yeah, no, I think same thing for me with Hyatt. I'm now a globalist, so I get free breakfast at all Hyatt hotels. Maybe I'd normally stay at a Hyatt place or Hyatt house where they give the free continental breakfast, but now I'm also seeking those higher, status hotels where they get full breakfast and board, great
Yeah.
rooms, but then yeah, I might be spending more money on other things in that city that I'm visiting. So I
Yeah.
understand that a lot. Um,
Yeah.
so besides the credits for the MX Plat, there's also the points you can earn. And we've talked about how you use those points to go to Manila, and whatnot. So tell me more about just earning points, and things like that. And I know you've mentioned other banks and strategies, so we can get there as well.
Yeah, so I will say when it comes to earning points, the Amex flat is a terrible card. There are no good multipliers. The only place where you get a good multiplier is if you book through the Amex portal. Outside of that, everything is just a 1x point multiplier, which is pretty bad given there are so many other great cards that do so much better than that. Um, so pretty hard to earn Amex points, I would say. And that's why for our personal strategy, we reserve our Amex cards, our Amex points specifically for um, transfer partners that you can't find with other credit cards. So take, for example, ANA, they only work with Amex. You can't transfer points from Chase, you can't transfer it from Citi. Amex is the only partner. So ANA has this great redemption, 85 or 80,000 round trip from the US to Asia in business class. That's an insane redemption rate. And they only work with Amex. So we're going to reserve our points for those redemptions because the value that you're getting is great, and we just it's yeah, it's special to Amex.
Gotcha. So for example, you guys spent 170,000 points for your Asia trip recently. What's your Amex balance now? Like, how are you going to get more Amex points if you're only earning 1x on your spending?
Yeah, so we get the bulk of our points through the sign up bonuses. I'd say between that, um, some of the retention offers that you get every year, or not every year, but when you're offered retention bonuses, they they typically offer you the retention either in the form of cash towards your annual membership fee, or if you hit a certain spend, you get maybe 30,000 miles. I always opt for the miles. They're way more valuable than the $300 that I might otherwise get, because, like I said, each point to me could be worth up to 8 cents. So
So you get like maybe 30,000 points every other year for just keeping the card, which is nice. Other, and you mentioned sign up bonuses. Tell me about that. Like, why do you sign up for a new Amex Plat every year, or like, what's your strategy?
Amex flat, you can only get one lifetime bonus for the Amex flat. And historically, you would be able to get it one per card. So, say you got the sign up bonus for the Amex, you could also get the sign up bonus for the gold card, but that's since changed in the last couple of months. So that's really unfortunate. Um, it makes it even harder to get Amex points. Um, but between the Amex Plat, maybe the Amex Business Plat, there are really, really big sign up bonuses available for Amex. I think, Matt, you said you found the 250,000 point Amex Business Plat sign up bonus. That one's huge. That's so many round trip flights to Asia.
Yeah. Now, let's spend some time talking about sign up bonuses. So I think for both of us, we've, you know, earned points on our regular spending. Maybe we have a 2x card, a 5x card on food and groceries or things like that. Like the MX Gold is 4x on dining and groceries, things like that. But I think what we've realized is that signing up for a new card is really where that multiplier hits, way more than what we can earn on a normal card. So for example, I've been applying a lot of Chase Ink business cards when they were 90,000 points for $6,000 worth of spend. So I was essentially getting 15% back in terms of points on all my spending. And then, as we mentioned, the MX Plat here, the business version is 250,000 points for 15K worth of spend. So it's another 15-ish%. So for you, like, how often are you applying to new cards, and what's kind of your strategy with all of that?
I prioritize a good sign up bonus. I plan for new cards around big purchases. I also have I mean, David's also in the game with me, so we stagger when we apply to cards too. So I guess if you take his cycle into consideration, we probably are applying every three to 4 months because I'll apply to a new card every 6 months. He'll apply every 6 months, and then that's staggered maybe like 3 months, so we're a little off cycle. So we don't have like a huge spend to meet. So between the two of us, having two players in the card game just makes it infinitely, you just level up way faster.
Yeah. So let's talk about like having what this game calls player two. So what's the difference between just two individuals signing up for cards and getting points versus being in a partnership? Like what value does that add?
Oh, yeah. I think referral bonuses are also a huge part of our game too. We do spend a lot of our time educating and kind of like helping our friends understand the benefits of getting into kind of credit card hacking. So when we do that, one, we just help them increase their quality of life. But then two, if they end up signing up for a card, we are able to benefit a little bit from referral links too. And when you have two players, anytime either one of us is signing up for a card that the other person already has, then you just send the referral link to each other. And I would say referral bonuses are pretty substantial. You can earn a lot of them if you're making a lot of good referrals every year.
Yeah. And what's nice about Amex is that any Amex card refers to any other Amex card. So in other banks, if you have this card X, you can only refer card X. But in Amex world, right, you can kind of go whatever.
Yeah,
That what broadens
yeah,
your yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
The cross referral is I think is really great.
And I guess speaking of this, right now Amex has a really good referral offer on their cards where if you refer someone to any card, you get plus 10x on dining. Do you have that on your
Yeah.
Amex cards? Have you?
I do not have that on mine right now, no, but David has. We have gotten that in the past when we referred our friends to the Black Card, got that, and then definitely capitalized on that because I think that's in partnership with Resi. So being able to get that 10x and then put all of your spend on the Amex is a great way of like very quickly increasing your Amex points balance.
Yeah, I have that offer on my gold right now. So if I do find someone, I would get 14x back on restaurant, which would be very nice.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. All right, we can move away from the MX Platinum talk and just talk about, overall credit card strategy. So earlier you talked about, or you mentioned that you have points in Citi, Chase, Capital One. Tell me like why is that important? And you mentioned a little bit about transfer partners, but like why else is that in your strategy?
Yeah, so transfer partners, each credit card, each bank has a specific set of airlines that it works with. And so when you are using your points, you almost always want to go through these transfer partners rather than booking your flights directly through the travel portal of the bank. So the Chase Travel, the like Amex travel portals, don't use those. You're going to get a terrible rate. Instead, look for a good redemption rate through one of the partner airlines and make that transfer bonus, make the transfer there. Typically, a lot of these airlines will transfer at a 1-to-1 rate, meaning 1 point from Amex transferred over to ANA is 1 mile there. And so that's pretty standard, but you'll get a much better rate if you do that as opposed to just redeeming through the Amex portal.
And shifting gears a little bit, so you talked about how you've been in the game for 10 years. In college, it was more about earning points. But you've been out of college for, a while now. How has your credit card strategy shifted? Or has it at all?
Um, I would say I don't think it's changed all that much. We're still making sure that whatever card we sign up for makes sense for us. So that means whatever the annual fee is, we can recoup that value through benefits. We're still making sure that we're always getting the biggest sign-on bonus available. We're still putting all of our spend on credit cards. We haven't put a single spend on a debit card since like freshman year of college. It just why do that when you can be earning money from all of your spend?
Right.
Um, so for the most part, I would say our strategy hasn't changed all that much, and I think that just goes to show how um, like you need to stay like it's a good strategy and it's worked for us.
Great. What are some, for people listening in that might be new to credit cards, what are some myths or caveats you'd want to give or, make true and advice for them?
Okay. I think there are so many great blogs out there to just help beginners get into the game and understand like the risk involved. My biggest lesson that I always impart on my friends, my family who I'm trying to um, get into the credit card game, I always tell them that it's a great tool, but only if you're using it wisely. So this means not carrying a balance if you have a high interest rate, being aware of how like of like what a hard pull is, how it affects your credit score, and all of these other like there are lots of blogs to give you lots of tips, but it's a great tool. Use it wisely, know what you're getting into, and talk to your friends about it.
Yeah, I'm in these Facebook groups and I see people, say, "Oh, I just signed up for the MX Plat. How do I use this card, or what's the best way to use it?" And it scares me because they're paying the $695 annual fee, um, and not knowing about all these credits that they can use. It's not like they're recouping. So yeah, definitely important to kind of know what you're diving into.
Oh yeah.
Um, for someone looking at the MX Plat, any words of advice there?
I think we've talked about this and come back to this a couple of times now. It's an expensive card. Make it, if it seamlessly fits into your life, good. Go for it. It's a great card. I love it. It fits in my life. But if it doesn't, don't like stretch yourself to make it work. There are a lot of great cards out there. Some of my other favorites right now is the Capital One Venture X. I love that card. I always have that on me. Um, there are a lot of really good other cards out there. So if this one doesn't work, something else will.
Yeah, and to give my side of the story, I don't have the MX Plaid. I've considered it multiple times in my life, but I there's no Centurion Lounge in the DC area airports. I don't use Walmart Plus. I don't Uber Eats or even Uber that much. So yeah, I don't think I would be able to recoup the credits. All right. Any last words you want to give? Fun stories, to wrap it up.
I think we've covered a lot today. This was fun. But I would say just some last words. Points have allowed my partner and I to really travel the world in unbelievable comfort. It's been phenomenal. And if you're not already in the game, reach out to the Woohoo group, learn about it, see where you can get started, and you will thank yourself later.
Thanks for the shout out. I did not pay her to say that.